Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of In Dispute, our third episode. And this time we're looking at the 88th Academy Awards. I'll go through how the show works in a second, but I'm joined by Tommy again.
Hello.
And Steve once again.
Hello, how you doing?
We've been consistent lately. There's been a
We
good
have.
crowd so far.
Yeah.
And just for the record, I've been on every episode, apart from the top 10 thing, which
Aha.
that's a one-person thing, so that doesn't count.
No, you're supposed to be there. but you wasn't.
In the background.
It's supposed to be two people.
So this week we're looking at or this month, I suppose, the 88th Academy Awards, which is the awards that took place in 2016 for the films of 2015.
So stupid. Every episode I'm gonna talk
Yeah.
about how stupid it is.
So if you're new to the show, we go through the top four categories: Best Picture, Best Director, Actor, and Actress, and we look at those and decide if the Academy got it right. Now that we've had some time to,
They've been pretty good so far.
they have been pretty good so far. So we look at the best four: Picture, Director, Actor, and Actress, and then we choose. We all have one which we want to dispute as well.
Sometimes it's the same.
Sometimes it's the
not.
same, sometimes it's not. Maybe we'll have this episode, maybe we won't.
We'll find out.
Have to find out. We'll start with Tommy. Which one do you want to look at first out of the big four?
Let's start with. Oh, actually no. Let's start with Best Actor.
Best Actor.
Okay.
Do you want me to read them?
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, I forgot how the show works. So the nominees were Eddie Redmayne for The Danish Girl, Michael Fassbender for Steve Jobs, Matt Damon for The Martian, Bryan Cranston for Trumbo, and the winner was Leonardo DiCaprio, finally, for The Revenant. I'm gonna say I'm disputing this one.
Wow.
Firstly, I don't think this is DiCaprio's best performance. I think it was a bit of a sorry, Leo. Like we get is it a meme that he didn't win? Did you say that was a meme?
It's sort of a meme. It was always a running gag, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When there's more people that were glaringly obvious for me, but he obviously hadn't won before. He probably should have won. He could have arguably won for Wolf of Wall Street. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
He definitely should have won for Django, but we'll get to it. So for this one, it kind of felt like, yeah, let's give it to him now, rather than it be the one that he deserved for. For me, the winner this year should have been Michael Fassbender and Steve Jobs.
Interesting.
The audience may not know, but I absolutely adore this film.
Yeah.
A part of me still wanted to see like the David Fincher, Christian Bale one, but obviously we got. Sorry, just waiting for. I don't know if that got picked up. Cut that. So obviously I was waiting, so that in the end we got Michael Fassbender, and I was interested to see what he did. Obviously I knew he was a very good actor, but I didn't quite put him on that Christian Bale level. For me, Christian Bale I think is one of the greats working of his generation, and he's been brilliant since Empire of the Sun. And obviously you got Danny Boyle in there as well, which is a different tone to what David Fincher could bring. But first and foremost, that Aaron Sorkin script sings, it flies through, it's beautiful, it's such an interesting structure, and I think what Fassbender does in it, obviously capturing these three different moments in the same man's life at three different ages, he does so brilliantly. We sort of spoke about like the triptych in Moonlight, but that was obviously three different actors, so it's kind of easier to do in some ways. Obviously challenging in others, picking up different habits, etc. But what Michael Fassbender did in showing that growth in such like deliberate, jarring ways, rather than a standard biopic sort of going through it bit by bit, we see it just sort of jump. I thought we did a fantastic job in this, and I thought we really captured not only a real person, Steve Jobs, that is very much in a contemporary memory rather than it being someone from a long time ago in history or someone not so known. He was very much in the public face. I thought we did a terrific job. He really captured him well and really like showed the depth of that person in ways that I didn't know. So for that reason and many others, I thought Fassbender should have won for this.
Yeah, that's it. It's difficult as always to take away from DiCaprio because he's one of the best.
Yes.
But like I said, I don't think it is his best though.
I think there's three other better actors in that film than him.
Yeah, exactly. And I look at Fassbender. For me, it would be between Fassbender and Redmayne. I thought Redmayne was really good in The Danish Girl. Having the year before, I think was Theory of Everything. Which I do think was a stronger performance from Redmayne. I think I'm in the same boat, and I think I'd give it to Fassbender. I love Michael Fassbender. I think he should be in everything. He could have been the Danish Girl. Imagine that. So yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. So I don't really have anything else to add.
I'm actually not disputing. I think DiCaprio is 100% fine to win it, to be honest.
It's like, oh, he ate a bison. We get it.
Yeah, but I think part of why I love that film so much is just seeing him transform as an actor. Obviously, we've seen him in a lot of roles to be kind of like a quite clean cut, smooth kind of guy. But in this film, like you see like a man really at like in like a true kind of primal form, you know, like escaping through these icy, harsh winter lands, you know, eating bisons and crawling into a bison at some point as well. If I can remember, I just think it's.
I thought they smell bad on the outside.
I just love the performance, and the supporting cast in that film was amazing as well.
I genuinely think he's outshadowed by both Donald Gleeson and Tom Hardy.
You think so?
Yeah, I thought Tom Hardy was incredible.
Tom Hardy is a close second.
Donald is so sinister in this in a weird like way. I love him in it. I think he's great.
I haven't seen Steve Jobs, but obviously from YouTube giving it glowing reviews.
It's amazing.
It's
an incredible film. And Fassbender is incredible in it. Yeah.
Shout out as well to Bryan Cranston. I really
he's really good in Trumbo actually.
I was really surprised. I had no idea nothing about the story of Dalton Trumbo.
Oh really?
No, I had no idea of it.
Watch it's not about Trumbo, but it's about that like Blacklist.
Okay.
It's a Woody Allen film. He didn't write it or direct it. He just stars in it. It's called The Front. It's excellent.
Yeah, it's
excellent.
Yeah, that's my thing. No dispute there. So
no dispute from Steve. Me and Tommy disputing one. So far, 2015 films.
Not looking good.
Not looking good. Steve, what do you want to go to next?
I'll go to Best Picture. I think.
Best Picture.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Jumping in.
I go straight for the head. So the nominees are Room, The Revenant, The Martian, Mad Max Fury Road, Brooklyn, Bridge of Spies, The Big Short, and the winner being Spotlight.
They knew.
That's one.
It was coming. I'm disputing.
Ooh.
Yeah. For me, it would be the Revenant. Obviously, I just touched upon why I loved it as a film. It's just beautifully shot, and then obviously mentioning those characters and the way everyone's portrayed. It's a wonderful cast. And then secondary, probably Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not disputing. I think Spotlight is a fantastic film. I think it displayed that story, wonderfully, and I think it's a really tough subject matter as well. And I think they did a really good job of it. And so many great performances and just like fantastic monologues and what a great cast assembled together. But I actually, if I was going to dispute it, then I'd probably give it to Mad Max Fury Road. I think it's better than The Revenant for one. I think it's more culturally significant too. I think it's going to be one of the most memorable films for the next few decades, like a Terminator 2 of our generation.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a really good point.
In fact, over Revenant, I'd probably go Big Short and Brooklyn first as well, because I love Brooklyn. I just want to give that a special mention because it's Donald Gleeson again, but Saoirse Ronan specifically is fantastic in that film.
I didn't enjoy The Big Short. I just thought it was a bit of a mess.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I
actually preferred Vice though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on. I think The Big Short's such an interesting film, and like it makes something that's technically really complicated and puts it in such a simple way.
Yeah, it does.
You've got to be so alert for it.
I think that works through Adam McKay, which obviously we'll touch on in a minute, and his sort of style. But that brings a lot to that film and makes it easier for the audience.
He's very much solidified himself now as one of those directors that have their own genre almost, where you're watching a Wes Anderson film, and you're watching a Tarantino film, and now I feel like you're watching an Adam McKay film, and I think he's really found himself with that, and I think he's really solidified that with Vice. But The Big Short was obviously the foundation of that. Yeah,
and I think I'm in a similar boat again as you, Tommy. I would give it to Spotlight. No dispute. If I did have to, I'm in the same sort of boat again. If I had to give it to something else, I'd go Mad Max, and then I think I'd put The Revenant at third. But another really stacked year, really. If you look at the Spotlight, Big Short, Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, Mad Max, The Martian, Revenant, Room, like any of those could have won, really. some of them would have been more of a surprise, but like some years you get that sort of years where you think something's just like crammed into one of those spots. But this year was a fantastic year. But I think Spotlight was the real standout for me. So no dispute for me.
So far,
So good.
Oh no, wait, no, we dispute the last one.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
like a reverse poo-pooer at the moment. I agree with the Academy. Yeah.
We'll jump to Best Actress next. So Brie Larson won for Room, and then Kate Blanchett in Carol, Jennifer Lawrence in Joy, Charlotte Rampling in 45 Years, and Saoirse Ronan in Brooklyn. Now this is a difficult one for me to say because I haven't actually seen any of the others apart from Room.
Oh really?
So I'm still gonna give it to Brie Larson.
I've seen 3 of them. So I've seen Room, I've seen Carol, and I've seen Brooklyn. So I heard Jennifer Lawrence wasn't great in Joy. She was fine. But I heard she's kind of...
She's just fine.
Yeah.
Not her best.
But I can definitely speak for Saoirse Ronan and Kate Blanchett, and I'd actually probably give this to... probably Kate Blanchett for Carol. This film is gorgeous. Every frame you can watch it on mute and just enjoy it.
Kind of film.
It's really good visual storytelling actually, because you could probably get a lot of it. But that speaks a lot for Kate Blanchett's performance. She was so almost like reserved, but it's sometimes hard to hold a lot of it back. And I think you can see it building up in her. And it's such a wonderful little story. I mean, tragic as films like that often are. The LGBT realm. But I thought she was brilliant in this, and I think she's such a terrific actress. It's hard because Brie Larson was great as well, and it was very much on her shoulders.
Yeah.
So you know what? I think it's kind of like a Moonlight situation, like we had last episode, where it was like, you know, 4 different films could win this, so including the winner. So I can't take it away from the winner. So I kind of feel like in that boat there. But in any given year, that Kate Blanchett performance and that Saoirse Ronan performance could easily have won, as well as Brie Larson. So I'm going to say no dispute, actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
Change your mind.
Yeah, I'm the same. No dispute. Brie Larson was probably the one for me. I think just seeing her as an actor evolve, because I already really knew her as the chick from Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
And kind of like small, kind of minor roles in that. She wasn't in anything too massive from what I can remember.
Special mention for Tremblay in that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The kid as well, the little boy, is absolutely fantastic.
Tremblay.
Oh, it's
Jacob
Tremblay. Sorry,
Jacob Tremblay,
Yeah, because has he been in anything else?
He was
Wonder.
in Wonder. He was
as
in
well.
Predator. The Predator.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so he's kind of up and coming. Do you think then?
Yeah.
Yeah. No dispute really.
No dispute. So we'll move on to the last category, which out of the 4, and before we do, which other category we dispute, which is Best Director. So Alejandro Inarritu won for The Revenant, Adam McKay for The Big Short, George Miller for Mad Max Fury Road, Lenny Abrahamson for Room, and Tom McCarthy for Spotlight. I'm not disputing this one. I think Inarritu, was it the year before was Birdman?
Yeah, Birdman.
Yeah. I think Birdman's probably the better film technically, but I think
I'd agree.
I'm not taking anything away from her. I'd still give it to him for The Revenant, I think. Despite disagreeing and not giving it any other awards, I think just the whole direction of the film was fantastic, and the performances he managed to get out from everyone, including DiCaprio, even though in my world he's not getting an Oscar, as we've already spoke about. And like a shout out to George Miller. Like we didn't
Dr.
see
George.
him. Yeah, we didn't see him for quite a while, and then for him to come back and give us this masterpiece, obviously in the world that he created back in the day. It's such a fantastic, gorgeous film, Mad Max, and I think that's a credit. I think we all said that it'd be our number 2 if we had to give a second place Oscar. So he'd be up there as well. What do you guys think?
It is a real tough one between Miller and Inarritu. It's really close because, like, for Miller, it's so much props to make what's in basic terms a 2-hour trip in a desert back and forth car. Basically 2 hours of a car chase. One of the most interesting films I've ever seen. Engaging, and like just the pace of that film. It's non-stop, and but it's just once again The Revenant. It's just that little edge over it. As a film, I just love it so much, and it's got like an amazing like 3-act structure to it. And you know, once again, like it's really honed by like the supporting cast, and obviously having DiCaprio as like his lead is really like showing that he's got an amazing amount of acting chops. And I think his direction probably came a lot from Inarritu as well. Yeah.
See, I'm in a few minds here because I think I mentioned this in the last episode as well, but I always find it weird when the best picture and best director are different awards, because I think, you know, the chief
go hand in hand
person. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't sleep on like Tom McCarthy with this. I think he deserves like huge props for what he assembled, and obviously he's worked in a variety of different films before, and since that he did Christopher Robin last, I think, or
maybe.
But anyway, I think it's between McCarthy, Miller, and Inarritu for me. I think Adam McKay, again, I want a special mention. I know I spoke about being the best picture. I like how he sort of invented his own style. And but I think kind of again what I said, where he sort of built the foundation of it in here, and I think he really went to it in Vice, and I think I prefer Vice, which is why I sort of steer away from him in this category for now.
Obviously, he went from doing Anchorman,
yeah,
to like The Big Short, and now Vice after this.
Yeah,
like, I think it's such different, but he pulls it off. And
exactly, I think something like Anchorman, the success of it gives him some credibility to make 100%. What he wants to make, which is where he's created these, you know, films about serious subjects, but making them hilarious in such unique ways.
Yeah.
So I think it's another situation where I can't dispute it, because he's just as valid in my mind as Miller or McCarthy, but just a huge special mention to all of them, and Abrahamson, because it's tough to have a film like in that framing device with so few characters.
Yeah, so no dispute from you.
No.
So what are you on at the moment? After we've done the big four,
I've disputed one.
One, Steve?
I think I'm 2.
Because you disputed picture and director.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, and I'm on 1 as well.
So you took it away from Inarritu, didn't you? In the end.
Oh no, I must have done then.
I meant picture. You've only done 1.
I've just done the 1 then.
Yeah, ignore me. So now we go on to like which other category we'd have a problem with. I'll start with mine, because I'm in charge. So the one I've got a problem with, and I'm going to dispute, is best original score, which I know is a little bit controversial in this room. So the Hateful Eight won,
which it's gone.
Wait.
So the other nominees were Bridge of Spies, Carol, Sicario, and Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Now, were you looking confused? No. Well, I'm going to give it to John Williams for his Force Awakens score. That was a beautiful score to me, and it's the only one out of those that I go back and listen to. There's some I think of Rey's theme. I think of the First Order march at the beginning of the film. I think of the last steps at the end of the film, and they're all beautiful pieces of music that I constantly listen to, like regularly. I think the last steps or the Jedi steps is actually my alarm on my phone.
Is it?
So, yeah, that's a fun fact.
Mine's just beep, 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 beep.
No, mine's more fun. It kind of generally builds up.
I've got you, babe, so I feel like every day I wake up and it's Groundhog Day.
Get to me after a while.
So I don't know. John Williams is such a legend that I think he can win pretty much anything that he does.
So for me, that was the biggest lock of the year. I think Morricone has never won an Oscar. John Williams has not only won Oscars before; he's also won Oscars for Star Wars before. And I think a lot of that score was, you know, reused, and just like similar motifs. Whereas the Hateful Eight score was like inventive. Yeah. He reinvented his own style, from which he like developed obviously way back in the original spaghetti westerns with like the Fistful of Dollars, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, a few dollars more. So I think he well deserved this. In fact, of all the scores that year, it's the one I most revisit. And like I said, it was the biggest lock for that year for me. Morricone finally got his Oscar, and John Williams was just, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
another Star Wars film for him, and he'd already won for one.
Hateful Eight, it's like a beautiful like soundscape, and like you said, like it's on my Spotify playlist probably, you know, every week, or a song or two. With John Williams, Force Awakens, Rey's theme is the only one I can remember from that film, Apart from that, like you said, it's just reused motives from previous Star Wars films. So I wasn't just like, oh wow, new stuff.
It's also not his best Star Wars score, even.
I don't know. For me, it does it work. I think out of Star Wars scores, I'd put it maybe. I don't know. I put Empire probably at one.
I'd go Empire, Hope, Jedi. What's it called? Phantom Menace, Revenge, Clones, then probably Awakens, then Jedi.
Interesting. No, I'd probably put Awakens at 2 maybe.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I love it. It really works for me. So I'm disputing that one. Steve, which one are you disputing?
I am gonna be disputing best supporting actor. So as a whole, it was Sylvester Stallone, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Hardy, Christian Bale, and then the winner was Mark Rylance of Bridge of Spies. For me, it was Stallone all over. Like just seeing like Rocky Balboa, like this ham-fisted, lovable kind of boxer. Gone through so much from film to film, seeing him as an older character, diagnosed, spoilers I guess, but having cancer and that, seeing a kind of a side of Rocky that we've never really seen before, and as a father figure as well to Creed.
And I think what's really interesting, because this is my one as well, and I think what's really interesting about this particular performance is Rocky was sort of, back in 76, he was 78, 76. Back in the 70s, he was really very much the American dream, and and then that American dream obviously got boosted with it became like the American ideology of beating Russia and being like the big hero and put on a pedestal and a platform, and the idea that after all of this time to really strip that down and give him a real sickness and real heart, and then be talking about how he's a father figure to Creed, but he's an actual father and he's not a very good one. Yeah. And he's not there, and he's not dealt with loss very well, and it really, really humanized this character that's been such an ideation for so long and has become such a stature of like American culture, and then to break that down so well and so brilliantly. And Stallone became a bit of a joke for a long time. I think for the late 90s, early noughties, he kind of wasn't really in Hollywood anymore after films like Judge Dredd and things like that.
Yeah.
So to see him come back and deliver a performance like this, I thought, and I think a lot of people thought that it was really his year. Yeah. And Rylance was fine in Bridge of Spies, but nothing quite to ring home about the same way I felt Stallone was in this.
It's like it's a well-deserved Oscar. It's not kind of a lifetime achievement Oscar that they just give to an older actor. Yeah. He's done all these films. Let's give him one. No, it was a well-deserved Oscar. James, what's your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, even there are other people in the category that I'd give it over Rylance, not just Stallone. I'd probably give it to Ruffalo or Hardy ahead of Rylance as well, to be honest.
Bow in The Big Short.
Yeah, exactly. But I'd have to stick up for Stallone as well. I think Creed's in my top 10 films of all time, just at 10. So I think that tells you how much I love this film, not being a massive Rocky fan, but this Creed thing, and I think a lot of that goes down to Coogler, but Stallone's performance in this film is fantastic, and yeah, to cut like you hit the nail on the head, Tommy. Like to have done those sort of performances where you kind of got him in doing a lot of same sort of roles, like you ended up seeing in like Expendables and that sort of thing.
Being a caricature.
Yeah, exactly. And like you just thought, oh, it's just another Stallone film. He's playing the same character over and over again. And what ironically is playing the character he's played a lot of time in Rocky, but it takes it to another level in this film, and he cares so much about this character, and that's why he was able to turn in this great performance. And yeah, I'm gonna give credit to Coogler as well for getting this performance out of him.
Can I break the rules and dispute one more, just really quick?
Well, as Steve did your one, you can do another
one. Kate Winslet for Best Supporting Actress over Alicia Vikander in The Danish Girl. She was unrecognisable in Steve Jobs. Her appearance is much the same, but the performance that she embodies makes her feel like a completely different person. I think she really captured like Joanna, and it was a character or a person who I didn't know much about. But I think she was the bedrock of that film.
Yeah, I'd completely agree with that. I think Alicia Vikander I think that was the same year that Ex Machina came out.
And she was better in that.
And she was definitely better in that. And Kate Winslet is just the best and should win all the time.
Also, Rooney Mara was like the lead in Carols, so I don't know what that's all about.
I think it should be mentioned as well for Jennifer Jason Leigh for Hateful Eight as well. It's Daisy.
Very, very good.
Really good performance.
Yeah. So how many disputes overall were you today, Tommy?
That's quite a few, I think. 1, 2, 3.
3.
Although I also disputed your dispute very heavily.
Steve, how many were you in the end?
I think it was 2.
Yeah, I was 2 as well. So, but I think we're going towards the time where the Academy seem to be disputing it a little bit more.
As we go. That's
we're going back, which is interesting. So it'll be interesting next time when we do the 87th Academy Awards, which will obviously be in 2015.
87 more episodes to go,
I was
guys.
gonna say, we could,
For the 2014 films. Where can the audience find you?
At Mr. TT Green on Twitter, and you can find me on podcasts on podcast.insidernetwork.co.uk or YouTube Insider Network.
You can find me on Twitter at Stevie Poo Poo, and you can also find me once again on Insider, on the Instagram, on the Facebook. I'm everywhere basically, but no one follows me, so I'm in the shadows.
And you can find me at Floodgate28, and go and like and subscribe and follow on everything. Just search Insider Network and you'll probably find us somewhere. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.